Hey, boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find your assignment for science, the lesson called Limiting Factors in an Ecosystem. You're going to go to your science course, and we are looking at the HCS Supplemental Resources, and we are looking at the assignment here called Limiting Factors in an Ecosystem. All right, so for this assignment, it says, in all environments, organisms with similar needs may compete with one another for limited resources, including food, space, water, air, and shelter. How do limiting factors, including food, water, space, and shelter, or a newly introduced organism, how can those affect an ecosystem? Number one, you're going to print the claim evidence and reasoning chart. The claim evidence and reasoning chart is going to be found here at the bottom. So we'll click on that and have that open, and we'll talk about that worksheet. Okay, so you're going to open that. Step 2, you're going to read the article called Limiting Factors in an Ecosystem. And step 3, you're going to use the article to complete the claim, evidence, and reasoning chart, and then you'll upload your work. So the article that you're reading is at the bottom of the directions, Limiting Factors in an Ecosystem. So you're going to read through this. It's just a one-page reading, so not very long. And then after you're done reading, you're going to complete this claim, evidence, and reasoning chart, which is found at the bottom of the lesson. So I'm going to walk you through how to complete this activity or this assignment. So I always like to start with my claim, but you can really start with your evidence if you'd like. I like to start with the claim. What conclusion can be made based on the evidence? So based on your reason, or based on the reading, what conclusion can be made? What fact can be stated? What is something that you learned? What can you make as a statement, something that's factual that you learned from the reading? And then from there, I like to provide the evidence from the text that supports that. You could do the evidence first, where you provide the evidence from the text. Maybe you found a sentence or two in the text that you thought was very interesting. And then your claim could be, okay, what does that mean? What does that piece of evidence mean? So you really could do either or first. I like to do the claim first, where I think about what I read and I think about, okay, what is something that I pulled from the reading that I now understand? It can be factual. It could be something that I inferred. The evidence then would be what supports that. What observations, what data, what is something from the text that supports my findings and my understanding? And then the reasoning, these are what are the scientific concepts that connect your evidence and claim? Why did this happen? So your reasoning is like the why. Your reasoning is also coming from your brain explaining why you made this claim, how the evidence supports your claim, why did it happen? Okay. And then your focus question here at the bottom that you're going to answer: how do limiting factors impact an ecosystem? And really what you can do is you start with your claim statement, then you support it with your evidence, and then you give your reasoning, your conclusion. Okay. And you can write that right here at the bottom. If you're typing it, feel free to type it here, or you can even write it so that you only have to submit one page if you want to write it here in that blank spot. But there are lines on the second page for you to use. So just as a recap, you're finding evidence, you're making a claim, and then you're providing that reasoning, that why. Then you're kind of putting those together, starting with your claim, then supporting it with evidence, and conclude with that scientific reasoning. Okay? All right, so then when you're done, you're going to submit these two worksheets, unless you write or type your focus question here. Then you'll submit just the first page, but just make sure you answer this question: how do limiting factors impact an ecosystem? Okay, so make sure that's either written or typed here or in that second page on those lines. When you're done, you'll submit this assignment in the submission box by clicking on the blue plus button and attaching your work.